Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features the Punisher War Journal number 13, cover dated mid-December 1989. The cover is by Jim Lee. I think that this is an excellent cover. We have a view of Bushwhacker standing over the, is it unconscious body of Frank Castle there on the ground. I like the colouring here. I'm assuming it's by Gregory Wright. It's his style of colouring. I like the orange rim lighting here. We've got the contrast of the warm orange against the cool blue and purple on the rest of Bushwhacker's figure there. I like the detail of the chain here at the corner of the page. It gives us a greater sense of depth and this top-down perspective here. Also make note of the line marking. This is penciled and inked by Jim Lee, and some of the line marking that we see here for the rendering on this particular cover here, we see repeated in the interior pages. And why am I talking about that? I'm talking about that because once I open this one up to the credits page, there is an error. So we see here that the credits are Carl Potts' story, and then we have credits for David Ross on pencils and Russ Heath on inks, which is not the case. So the error here is that these two produced the art for the upcoming issue number 14, but Jim Lee was still drawing this particular issue. So there's 22 pages of story and art penciled by Jim Lee, but it's unclear who the inker is. In the previous issue, part one of this two-part storyline, the inker was Al Milgrom, and I do think that some of these pages in the comics, such as this opening page here, are inked by Al Milgrom, but other pages I'm pretty certain are inked by Jim Lee himself. And then there's one or two pages who I have no idea who the inker is. So I'll point some of that out as I go through the story. And I did some research online, and that was no help at all. And I really spent some time on it trying to find out the true story behind the art credits for this issue, and I didn't come up with anything. So if anyone out there knows anything on top of what I'm going to say and what I've said already, please do let us all know in the comment section to this video. The remainder of the creative team: Jim Novak on letters and Gregory Wright on colors. So we have a little bit of a replay of what happened at the end of the previous issue, where Bushwhacker has got Punisher cornered, and Punisher has pulled himself up to the top corner of this cupboard closet room, and he's thinking to himself, knife's all I got left. Bushwhacker knows it, knows he's beat the... Now, what would this be? What do you suppose the Punisher would be saying there to himself that is censored? Do you think that he would be thinking to himself, knows he's beat the crap out of me? Or something a little bit sharper and harder language-wise? But in any case, he continues and says to himself, knife's got a surprise. I've got to stay conscious to use it. So we've got the title of the story here, Confession. And Bushwhacker is searching around the closet. This is your last chance before I send you to Hell Castle. Unless you want to be eternally damned, confess. I'm qualified to hear it. One former priest to another. How many have you killed, avenging your family's slaughter, the family you failed to protect? No response. All right, big boy, have it your way. Here I come. So at this moment, he checks out the closet room, doesn't see the Punisher. But what we have here packed into these speech balloons is really the thematics of this. Bushwhacker is in some regards and in some ways a mirror image of Frank Castle. Both of them former seminarians, except that Bushwhacker actually was consecrated a priest, whereas Frank Castle dropped out of the seminary. But what we get to see here is their alternating and the dialogue of their perspectives on questions of justice, confession, guilt, and punishment. So, as I said, Punisher's hiding up there in the top corner of the room. He's braced against the wall there, and Bushwhacker spots him, and let's turn the page for an excellent full page image by Jim Lee. Look at that. So Punisher drops down from the top corner of the room and basically kicks Bushwhacker in the jaw there as Bushwhacker misses his target. So I'm pretty sure that this is penciled and inked by Jim Lee. And like I was saying concerning the cover, some of the mark making on the cover, it's the same here on this full page image. And also a telltale for me is the use of the screen tone around the muzzle flare from Bushwhacker's organic forearm cannon here. That was an artistic tool in Jim Lee's inking set of tools. So that's what has me conjecturing and inferring that this is pencils and inks by Jim Lee. And maybe he even was considering it as an alternative cover image. Then we're back into the action, and this is a more pacey issue than the first part of the crossover. There was a lot of talking in the first part of the crossover, especially by Bushwhacker. This is pacier altogether. So Punisher's on his feet, barely on my feet, steady, steady. Bushwhacker's on the ground, and then Punisher aims this spring-launched blade, dagger blade, aim with both hands. He thinks to himself, blade spring's got a big kick, but Bushwhacker blasts the blade before it has a chance to hit him. And then he pulls Punisher up from the ground by the hair. Not much left of your Kevlar vest. We can see it's taken some damage there from the previous issue, but it's your head I'm gonna blow off. Now he's obsessed. He wants the confession. You have to confess to do this right. You keep screwing up. Do one thing right. The kills got to feel right. My kills have poetry. So Bushwhacker, former priest, now an artist, and these are his twin obsessions: artistry, poetry, confession. So there he is, holding Punisher up there, close up on Punisher's defiant face. I'll see you in hell. So that's not what Bushwhacker wants. Curse you, he exclaims. I'll pound you to pulp. He starts doing that there. We've got the red colour there to convey the violence of the action. And there he is standing over Punisher. He's beaten him into unconsciousness. This is pretty ugly. He stops himself. Simply won't do. No art in this. And it's this panel gives us the inspiration for the cover image there. So Jim Lee must have liked what he produced with this particular panel and decided to repurpose it. The design, I mean, for the cover. Again, this page, is this by Al Milgrom or is it by Jim Lee? I'm uncertain about that. It could be by Jim Lee. This particular page too, perhaps. And Bushwhacker here is thinking, need to wait, figure out a more artistic way to off this bum. Got to show that, well, what's he saying there? Effing reporter who's tops. Hope you don't mind if I borrow one of your bikes, he says to Punisher. Got anything good here? And Punisher, he is barely conscious. No countdown like this, can't breathe, don't black out, don't black. So he must have a punctured lung as well. And then there's a burst of light. And is it the ghost? Is it an hallucination of his murdered wife Maria comes to him? And is that really you, he asks her. Yes, she replies. I'm almost there, almost with you. So he could let go. And it's she who says, no, Frank, you mustn't give up. Your time hasn't come yet. Fight to live. So she comes from his unconscious, from his imagination, from the afterlife, to tell him to continue with his punishing mission. And she is very much in contrast with that message to Bushwhacker's wife, which we'll see later in the issue. So I like this little device here where her image transitions into that of Microchip, who's there trying to keep Frank alive. Microchip saved me with CPR, then he sneaked me over to his place and patched me up. So the Punisher's back on his feet, all patched up and bandaged there. This page here, definitely inked by Al Milgrom. It's his style, especially on the hair on Microchip's forearms, I can tell. So I like this top-down angle of Microchip's office there. Punisher's up. He's asking Microchip what did he find out about this Bushwhacker maniac. And Microchip gives him the information, how he mostly goes after mutants. Wonder what his beef with you is. So they don't know anything about Acts of Vengeance here and the competition between Kingpin and Doctor Doom, which is the reason why Bushwhacker's going after Punisher. Microchip asks, ignorant of all of this, did you know him when he studied for the priesthood? And Frank says no. So there we have a little picture of Frank Castle when he was on a completely different path. I left the seminary when I couldn't shake the feeling that the guilty should be punished before they were forgiven. He thinks to himself, punished by a whole lot more than saying a few Hail Marys. And Microchip says, it was a tough trail to track, but I got his home address and floor plans. Floor plans? Yeah, from the planner's office. So you pick up all kinds of procedural information here from Carl Potts' script, in case you ever wanted to break into someone's house and murder them. This is how you do it. It's wild stuff here. Punisher, get the battle van ready. And I love this dry line from him, I need to make a house call. I mean, this is pure kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger 80s movies, deadpan one-liners. Then we're into the interdimensional, this is Marvel Comics after all, meeting room, currently occupied by the kingpin of crime and the deposed monarch of Latveria. So this is all to do with Acts of Vengeance, where you get this competition, this kind of alliance competition between major villains of the Marvel Universe, and they take out superheroes or superhero teams that ordinarily they don't face off against. But there's a bet here between Kingpin and Doctor Doom, and this is what they are arguing about. Dr. Doom says when the information comes in about Bushwhacker having departed without killing Punisher, ha! You scoffed at me because I chose not to kill the Punisher just to win our little wager, Kingpin. Now, your feeble attempt on his life fails because you hired an inept lunatic to do the job. You cannot even crush an insect with an atom bomb, and you fancy yourself a Kingpin, a masterful manipulator of men. So Kingpin, what does he say to that? Like this side profile shot. The time is not up and the game is not over yet, Doom. Watch, listen, and learn. Now look at this pose here of Doom sitting back in his hover throne. This reminds me very much of the image of Namor from Heroes Reborn Fantastic Four, drawn by Jim Lee. So it has me thinking that once you master a pose like this, someone sitting back in a chair, and in particular when it's a throne of types, that Jim Lee must have had some kind of memory of this and went back to it and then used it as an inspiration for that famous and much more elaborated drawing of Namor on his undersea Atlantean throne. But let's get back to this story. This is the place, says the Punisher in his war journal to himself. I like the inside shot of the battle van where he is looking out towards Bushwhacker's suburban house, and he's been surveilling it. The big ear mic is picking up their conversations and the TV in the background. The big guy didn't like his dinner. He's going to hate dessert. Micro says the wife has no criminal record. Going to have to plan and time this precisely so she doesn't get hurt. So she's innocent, but not entirely innocent, because Punisher adds she knows what she does and she knows what he does, and she stays with him, so she's not exactly a saint. Okay, this particular page here, I think this one is inked by Jim Lee. Some of the mark making here on the gloves, and also the rendering around his nose there, and the bruising there on his cheek makes me think that it's Jim Lee. Thermal imaging shows me exactly where they are. There they are. Autopilot's programmed. Gas grenades should make this easier. Off they pop. Turn the page. Here we go. Into the action now. So it gets pacey. The gas grenades go in through the living room window. Hold your breath, says Bushwhacker. Get out of this room. So that's interesting characterization. He is concerned about the safety of his wife. He does care about her. I can't see anything. What's that noise? It's him. He knows who it is. It's Punisher. Look at this. This is wild stuff. He drives the battle van right into the living room. And Bushwhacker attacks with his arm cannon. Need to use large caliber rounds to get through the armor. There, think I nailed its power source. He opens the back of the van. It's empty. But what's this? A piece of masonry falling on his head. What this? So there's a crack opening up in the ceiling. Let's have a look here. See what happens. Another huge full page image by Jim Lee. Again, I'm pretty certain this is pencil, not just pencils, but also inked by him. Fantastic image. He's coming through the ceiling. Say your prayers. Wild stuff. Starts firing away there with his auto gun. You're nuts, man, says, yells rather, Bushwhacker as he dives behind the couch. What good is that going to be? And he's there concerned you're wrecking my house. Into Punisher's thoughts, he's fast and I'm shooting too fast. Clipped him with a few pieces of shot. He's too far away for serious damage. So Bushwhacker dives out through a window and Punisher comes out looking around for him in the yard. Love the detail here, love the perspective too. And then the wife is irate. Hey you, what's wrong with you Rambos? Who are you to come busting in here, tearing up my home? You're out of control. Don't you think you're doing any good? You think you dispense some sort of justice? You don't solve anything. Violence breeds violence in a never-ending, she was about to say, cycle and continue. But I just love this bit here from Punisher. I love it. Shut up, back off. You live with, aid and abet an assassin for hire. You're no angel. So Punisher isn't going to be guilt-tripped by Bushwhacker's wife. No way, no how. And I don't know who's inking this. This is not Al Milgrom. This is not Jim Lee. This is someone else. It's very much the same with this page. This is neither Al Milgrom nor Jim Lee inking this page. Look at the mark making there. The tendons on Punisher's arm. The way that the stubble is rendered there. I don't know who that is. But whoever's inking this page, whoever it is inking with a brush. I know that much. So Bushwhacker, see, he cares about his wife. He comes in and gets Punisher in a headlock. Get away from her. He yells, you loser. You couldn't protect your family. You lived, they died. You spend your lonely, pitiful life killing people who had nothing to do with your family's death. So he dunks his head in the fish tank. Admit it, you're guilty. He's going to drown him in the fish tank unless Punisher admits his guilt. His wife now, she goes crazy. For the love of God, stop. I'll save you. Confess your sins to me, insists Bushwhacker, that big crazy grin on his face. I'll forgive all your sins and all your murders for your family. But the wife there pulls a mirror off the wall and smashes it over the back of her husband's head and back. And this is an interesting panel here. Like, there's not a lot of detail here. And again, this is a different inker. I don't know who this is. But this one makes it seem to me as if this could be, like, this page could be thumbnails that were blown up. Like, there probably was deadline pressure coming towards the end of this, because Jim Lee was putting out the issues on a bi-weekly schedule, which is punishing in itself, no pun intended, and also working on Uncanny X-Men, filling in on that particular title at the exact same time. So the man was pumping out the pages, and who could blame him if he took a few shortcuts in order to get the pages off on time. But Bushwhacker's wife there, she explodes. You're both hypocrites, so righteous in your roles. You're two peas in a pod. I never saw you work before, she says to her husband. It's disgusting. You're disgusting. I quit. So she runs off. Bushwhacker's not happy. Don't leave me alone. I'm sorry, honey, stop. So he truly does care for her. And again, you know, there's a parallel there with Frank from earlier, where he wanted to be reunited with his dead wife. So Bushwhacker chases after his wife in the car. He's holding onto the roof of the car. Punisher, meanwhile, is back on his bike that Bushwhacker rode to his house. Bushwhacker there pleading with his life. He loves her. Stop. You want me to stop, she says. She stops the car. He falls off. It's raining as well. Love the detail there of the puddles from the rainfall. So we're going to get a dark ending to this. She drives away. His turn for an artful end. Punisher, see there, he gets off the bike in the background. Bike is on the ground. He's got his gun, and Bushwhacker turns around. Punisher, I saw you die. Okay, I'll kill you again. So Punisher shoots at him there, and knocks, with the impact of the rounds, knocks Bushwhacker over the side of the bridge. So he's hanging on with his fingers there. See how pacey this is? This is really great storytelling by Jim Lee. Really good stuff. Punisher's there standing, looking down at Bushwhacker as he's slipping, begging for help. Turn the page. Punisher puts his foot on Bushwhacker's fingers. Confess. So the tables are turned. And Bushwhacker's laughing there. Confess, says the Punisher. Bushwhacker, he's seeing death in the pupil of his eye, the little skull emblem there. Forgive me, he starts. Father, for I've sinned. I harbour a great capacity for hatred. I've killed many in my frustration. And he was about to continue, but he starts laughing maniacally. You've got to help me up now, hero. And Punisher simply says, you forgot to say your Hail Marys. Lifts his boot. And there goes Bushwhacker into the river below. Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women. And then the splash. Hope Dr. Micro's home, says Punisher to himself as he walks away with the rain splashing on the bridge. Great sequence. I'd say Jim Lee was very pleased with himself having put that one together. Let's get past these ads and editorials. It's the last page, page 22. Elsewhere, that next evening, so there's a TV news report all day today. The Punisher's been on a rampage. At least 3 crack houses and numerous other drug transactions were broken up in bold daylight raids. The bodies are still being counted. What triggered the Punisher's hyperactivity? Late last night, New Jersey picked up an obviously... New Jersey, must be like police. Picked up an obviously distraught woman for speeding and reckless driving. The woman told police she had just left her husband, the assassin known as Bushwhacker, who was locked in combat with the Punisher on a remote bridge. By today's actions, we can guess who survived that battle. This is Simon Winston, so he's the news reporter he featured in the previous issue. Assistant, says Kingpin, he's disgusted. Doom is jubilant. See to Mr. Winston's retirement. So this guy, for delivering the bad news, is going to be shot in one day, says Doom. The insect you swore to swat has cost your operation millions. You will never again boast to Doom of feats you cannot accomplish. Do you hear me, Kingpin? And Kingpin retorts, concern yourself with your own credibility, Doom. But we have this close-up on Kingpin's assistant there, which is an odd way to end this particular page. Doesn't make sense. I mean, he's going to go out and he's going to kill the news reporter or the TV presenter. But yeah, it's a bit strange. There seems to have been a little miscommunication there, I think, maybe from Potts to Lee. And then we get one page of the Punisher's Arsenal by Elliot R. Brown. And featuring here is the Black Hawk Super Bow. There it is there. So another way to kill people. And there you go. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on the Punisher War Journal, issue number 13. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section, especially if you have any information on the inking of this book. And if you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.